Okay, we're gonna try to run through Sefer Yehoshua over here. Parak Aleph, fourth to last parak. Relatively straightforward. Try to run through it over here. Pasuk begins by saying V'yigshu. Okay, this is referring to them approaching. Who approached Roshe Avos Halavim. This is the heads of the Levium. So they approached. Who did they approach? El-Azar according to El-Azar, El Yeshua bin Nun, and they approached Yeshua. Well, Roshi Avos Amatos Bnei Yisrael, they approached the other heads of the tribes. V'yidaber Elohim b'Shilo be'eretz Canaan, and they spoke to them in Shiloh, in the land of Canaan, Lamor, saying, Hashem siva b'yad Moshe lasis lanu ardum lashavas migroi Hashem lebeheim tenu. That Hashem commanded through Moshe to give us these cities to dwell, and their surrounding areas for our animals. So then the pasuk continues and says, "V'yitnu b'nei Yisrael levim v'nachalasim el pi Hashem es he'orim ha'ilu v'es migrishehem." So they were given to them. They gave it to the Levi tribe of Levi from the inheritance, according to the word of Hashem. These cities and their surrounding areas. Pizza Gor Lemishpachos Hakahati, and the lottery went out for the family of Kahati Vehilu b'nei Aaron HaKohen, and it was for the children of Aaron HaKohen, Min Lavim Mata Yehuda Mata Hashim Oini Mata Binyamin Bagoriel Odim Shaloish Asara. And it was for the children of Aaron from the Levium. They were from the Levium, from the tribe of Yehuda, from the tribe of Shimoni, and from the tribe of Binyamin. The lottery, they got cities. They got 13 cities. Okay, so that is the history of that. Next pasuk says, "Hey, v'lebenei kahas hanoisim mishpachos mata Ephraim mata Danim umachotzi mata Menashe begorel orim asar." And it was for the tribe of Kahas that remained from the families, from the tribe of Ephraim and from the tribe of Dan, and from half of the tribe of Menashe. They had a lottery, and it was 10 cities. Eliminate Gershon for the children of Gershon. This is all straightforward land distribution over here. For the children of Gershon, and Mishpachos Mata Yisachar, from the family of Yisachar, and Mata Asher from the tribe of Asher, and Mata Naphtali, the tribe of Naphtali, and Machotzi Mata Menashe, and from half of the tribe of Menashe, Bashan, Begoriel, Arim, Shalosh Asada. From half of the tribe of Menashe and Bashan, they had a lottery, and they were given 13 cities. Libnei Mamarim Mishpachos and Mishpachos Ruvim Umemata Gad Mamata Zavulun Arim Shtayim Asara. And for the children of Merari, for their families, and for the tribe of Reuven, and from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zvulun, you had 12 cities. Bitu b'nei Yisrael, the Leviim, Esar Malelu, the Jews they gave to the Leviim these cities, Ves Migershem, and their open spaces, Kashir Siva Hashem Yad Moshe Begorel, like Hashem commanded Moshe with the lottery. Vayitnu Mamata b'nei Yehuda, Mamata b'nei Shimon, and it was given from the tribe of Yehuda and from the tribe of Shimon. Ace, Ha'odem Ha'ilu Asher Yikra Esem B'Shem. These cities that you call them by their name. V'yihilu b'nei Aaron v'mishpachos HaKahati v'b'nei Levi Gilehem Haya Goydel Rishoina. And for the children of Aaron from the families of the Kahati, the children of Levi, because they had the first lottery. Bitul Lahem Es Kriyas Arba Avi, and it was given to them Kriyas Arba, who was the father of the giants, Avi Ha'anok, He Chevron, Bahar Yehuda, which is also Chevron in the mountains of Yehuda, Vekim, Gasher, Tzivi, Vaseh, and the open spaces around it. Ve'asoda Hayir Ve'achasreya, in the field of the city and the courtyards, and Atul Lakal ben Yefuna Ba'chuzos, they gave it to Kalev, the son of Yefuna, as an inheritance. We learned about Kalev previously. Is a possession. For Bnei Aaron, and for the children of Aaron, Akoin Nosnu Asayir Miklat Harotzeach as Chevron Vesem Gorshech Ves Levik Nekudu Arsha. Children of Aaron, Akoin, they gave the city of refuge that the murderer is going to run to. And you had Chevron and Chevron and the outskirts, the open space over there, the area, and you had Levina and Migrashah. So all of those locations that you had, the open spaces and its open spaces, Levina and its open spaces. The S Yatir Vesmi Goshe, you had Yatir and its open spaces for S, Eshtoma Vesmi Goshe, you had Eshtoma and its open spaces for S, Cholin Vesmi Goshe, you had Cholin and its open spaces for Tzvibin Goshe, and you had Devira and its open areas, Ves, Ayin, Vesmi Goshe, and you had Ayin and its open areas, Ves, Yuta, Vesmi Goshe, and you had Yuta and its open spaces, S, Beis Shemesh, Vesmi Goshe, you had Beis Shemesh and its open areas. Beis Shemesh today, big attack. It was the only missile that went through. Arim Teisha Mei Shnei Hashifatim Ha'ilu, and these cities were nine from these two tribes. Umata Binyamin as Givon vs Migrashe, and for the tribe Binyamin you had Givon and its open areas as Geva. You had a place called Geva vs Migrashe and its open areas S. Anatos vs Migrashe, you had Anatos and its open areas vs Almon vs Migrashe, you had Almon and its open areas Arim Arba. You have these four cities, Kol Arid B'nai Aaron HaKohanim Shalosh Seiraim Migrashe. All of these cities for the children of Aaron the Kohanim, they would get 13 cities. And for the family of the children of Kahas Levim that remained from the children of Kahas, and you had the cities, their lot from the tribe of Ephraim. V'yitin lehem es ir miklot, and it was given to them the city, the Iri Miklat, city of refuge, that the murderer goes to Shechem in its open areas, on the mountain of Ephraim, and Gezer in its open areas, Ve'es Kivatzayim, Ve'es Migroshin, you have Kivatzayim in its open areas, Ve'es Beis Choyrim, Ve'es Migroshin, Marba, and you had Beis Choyrim and its open areas, you have four cities, Mamate, Dan, Es, El Tikei, Ve'es Migroshin. From the tribe of Dan, you have El Tikei and its open areas, Es Givton, Ve'es Migroshin, and Givton and its open areas, Es Ayalon Vesmigasha Yoda, Ayalon in its open areas as Gas Rimon Vesmigasha, yeah, Gas Rimon in its open areas are Marbad. Those are four cities. Mamachas is Mazam Menashe, and from half of the tribe of Menashe, Es Ta'anach Vesmigasha, yeah, Tanach in its open areas, Es Gas Rimon Vesmigasha, and yeah, Gas Rimon in its open areas, Odom Shtaim. This is going to be two cities. Kol Odom. Eser, Migrashem, all of these cities are 10 in its open areas, and this goes to the family of Kahas, those who remain. The children of Gershon from the family of the Levium. Mechatzi Mata Menashe from half of the tribe of Menashe is Ir Miklat HaRotzechi, the city of refuge that the murderer goes to is Golan, Golan, Bashan, your Golan in the Bashan, Ves Migrashem in its open areas, Ves Be'eshtera, you had Eshtera Ve'es, Migrashem in its open areas, Odim Shtayim. We're talking about a grand total of two cities. Mamati Yisachar is Gershon Ves you had the tribe of Yisachar. They got Kishon and its open areas, and they got Daviros and its open areas. Es Yarmos, so they got Yarmos and its open areas, and in Ganim and its open areas. Those are four cities. And Mamata Asher from the tribe of Asher is Mishal. You have Mishal in its open areas. Es Avdon, you have Avdon in its open areas. Es Chelkas Es Rechov Es Migrasha Arim Arba. You had Chelkas in its open areas and Rechov in its open areas. Those are four cities. Umata Naphtali as Ir Miklat HaRotzeach, and from the tribe of Naphtali, you have the city of refuge that goes to Harotzeach, the murderer as Kedesh, Baglir, you have Kedesh in the Glir, and its open areas as Chamos Dor, you have Chamos Dor, and its open areas as Kartan, you have a place called Kartan, and its open areas Adam Shalosh, three cities. Kol Ori Hagirishuni Lemishvachoisem. All of these cities, the Gershuni and its family, Shalosh Asada Ir Megirshayim, you have 13 cities and its open areas. Lemishvachos Bnei Merori Halavim Hanoisim Me'es Mata Zavulun, and from the family of Bnei Merori, the Levium that remained from the tribe of Zvulun, means Mata Zvulun, S Yaknium, a place called Yaknium, ve'es Migrasha and its open areas. S Kartasov, S Migrashenyo, Karsa and its open areas. S Dimnav, S Migrasheha, S Nahal, S Migrasheha, Armaba, Yadimna and its open areas. And you had Nahalal and its open areas. Those are four cities. Mamata, Gad, Esir Miklat, Hadoitseach, from the tribe of Gad. You have a city of refuge that the murder will go to. Es Ramos, Begil, you are Ramos in Gilad and its open areas. Ves Machanaim, Ves Megrsha, Machanaim and its open areas. Es Cheshbon, you had a Cheshbon and its open areas. Es Ya'azir, Ves Megrsha, and you had Ya'azir and its open areas. Kol Rimar, all of these cities are four. Kol Ha'orim libnei Marori, all of these cities to the children of Mamari, l'mishpachos, according to their families, Hanoisim mishpachos Lavim, that remained from the family of the Lavim, Vihi Gordalam Yerim Shtayim Asur, and their lot was going to be 12 cities. Kol Ari Halavim, Besoch Chuzas Bnei Yisrael, all of these cities of Lavim are going to be in the inheritance of the Jews. It's going to be a grand total of 48 cities and their open areas. This is where it comes from. Very important that this is talking about all of the cities that basically Levi had. That was basically the city of refuge, or that which they had 48. It's a very important number. It should be that these cities, each by their city and their open areas around Cain, Lachol, this is what it is for all of their cities, meaning that all of them would have open spaces. V'yitin Adonai Yisrael es kol haaretz asher nishba lasis la'avosim v'yirashu v'yeshu ba, and Hashem gave the Jews all the land that He promised to give them to their ancestors, and they inherited and they dwelled there. Okay. Vayanoch Adonai lahem misaviv kakol asher nishba la'avosav v'lo merishba v'fnein mekol u'reveim es kol u'reveim nasan Adonai biyadam, and this is talking about over here that Hashem gave it to them. He gave them rest. Vayanach, vayanuchu, Shabbos. So He gave them rest from everything around, everything that Hashem swore to their ancestors, and no one stood up against against them, all their enemies, and anyone who did, Hashem delivered the enemies into the hands of the Jews. Lo nafal davar mikol davar hatov asher dibar Hashem al Beit Yisrael. So nothing fell from everything, all the good that Hashem spoke to the Jews. Hakol ba, everything occurred, everything happened. The Mitzudas says over here in Vayanach that Nasan lahem enucha misaviv, that Hashem gave them rest from the people around them, v'lo nizgaru behem agoyim, and there were no one that was instigating against them, and there were no issues that happened over here. Okay, let's go straight into the second pasuk. Usually, the second parak. Usually, we don't do two perakim at a time, especially when it's this long. But parak says, "As Yikra Yehoshua la Reuveni v'lagadi." So then Yehoshua called out to the tribe of Reuven and Gad, v'lachatzi mata, and for half of the tribe of Menashe. And what did he say? Vayomer aleim, he told them, Atem shamartim is kol asher siva escha Moshe eved Hashem. You guarded everything that was commanded to you, everything that was commanded to you. Right? Everything that Moshe, the servant of Hashem, commanded you, you kept. V'tishmu b'koili, and you listened to my voice. L'kol asher sivisi eschem, everything that I commanded you. Lo azavtem es achichem, you didn't forsake your brothers. Zeh yamim rabin, this is a lot of days. Adi yom hazeh, until this day. Ushemartem es mishmeres mitzvahs Hashem lokechem, and you guarded the guarding of the mitzvahs of Hashem, your God. Basically saying that you listened to everything that Hashem told you to do. Ata heniach Hashem lokechem loyichichim kasher dibar lehem, and now Hashem your God left to your brothers as He spoke to them. V'ata penu l'chu lachem lokechem eloretz achusatechem. Now go to your land of inheritance asher nasan lachem Moshe, that Moshe gave you, Eved Hashem, a servant of Hashem, b'vayardim, on the other side of the Jordan. In other words, he's saying you got to go to the other side of the Jordan over here. So it's happening over here. Rak Shimru Ma'oid Lasois as a mitzvahs v'esatayro asher siva eschem, but be careful to guard and do all the mitzvahs and the Torah that Asher Siva Aschem Moshe, Eved Hashem, that Moshe was commanded, the servant of Hashem, La'ava, so Hashem Lokechem, to love Hashem, your God, V'lechem, Chol Durachav, and to walk in all of his ways. Lishma Tzvosa, to guard his mitzvah, Davka, but to attach yourself to it. Lavda B'kol Levavachem, Ukol Nafshechem, and to serve it with all of your heart and all of your soul. V'yavarchem, Yehoshua, and Yehoshua blessed them, V'yashalchim, and sent them off. V'yelchu El Halehem, and they went to their tents. Chatzi Shivin and Menashe Nasan Moshe B'Bashan Lachatzi Nasan Yoshim Achichim Evar Yarden Yama Vagam Ki Shalchim Yehoshua El Eloheim V'Yavarchim. And for half of the tribe of Menashe, Moshe gave in Bashan, and for half Yehoshua gave with the brothers on the other side of the Jordan, Yama westward, and also he sent them. Yehoshua sent them to their tents and blessed them over there. Yeah. Yeah, okay. The idea over here is that even though that they would be physically separated, you don't want to be spiritually separated. The people on the other side of the Jordan River, keep that spiritual good atmosphere, keep the Torah and the mitzvahs going, and that's very relevant for many Jews nowadays who do not live in Israel, and even the ones who do live in Israel. You also have to be careful about other bad influences. Okay, that's basically what's happening over here. Next pasuk says, "Vayomer Aleiham Lemor." It was told to them, saying, "Bin chosim rabim shuvu." Okay, what is this? Ches. Okay, so now it's talking about wealth. You have a lot of wealth you're going to return, O aleichem, O aleichem, to your tent, and you're going to have a lot of cattle. You have a lot of silver, gold, saying that you have a lot of value over here. That's what this is saying. You're going to return to your tents with a lot of copper. The choishes barzel is the iron. Similar harbim mode, a lot of clothing over here. Chilku shaloy, I mean, you should distribute the spoils of your enemies. Im achichem, with your brothers. Yeshuvu. So that was the command. So they returned and they went, the children of Yehuda and the children of Gad and half of the tribe of Menashe, Meis bnei Yisrael from the Jews, Meshilo from Shilo, Asher be'eretz Canaan, which is in the land of Canaan, Lechas el eretz Gilad, to go to the land of Gilad, el eretz Chuzosim, to go to the land of inheritance. Asher no Chuzul, but they inherited al pi Hashem yad Moshe, through the word of Hashem, through the hand of Moshe. Avu v'elo Gilos HaYarden, and they went to Gililos HaYarden. So this is talking about to the regions of the Jordan River, Beretz Canaan, the land of Canaan. V'yivnu b'nei Reuven b'nei Gad v'chatzi shevet Menashe sham, and they built, the children of Reuven, Gad, and half of the tribe of Menashe, Mizbeach al Yardin. They built an altar on the Jordan River, Mizbeach Gadol Lamara, a Mizbeach that looked very nice. Okay, so there's a lot of ink that has been used on this specific point, and this pasuk over here. They weren't intending for this altar to be used for offerings, and they built it on the west bank of the Jordan. They weren't going to use it over there. It could have been used, it was not going to be used for the tribes living east of the river, and it was unprecedented construction, and it was misinterpreted. It's what the Ark Troll explains over here. And it was not meant for offerings, it was seen. It was like a showpiece, which is not good. And it was just for the looks. So what happened? V'yishnu b'nei Yisraelim, or the Jews heard about this saying, Hine banu b'nei Reuven b'nei Gad v'chotzi shevet Menashe mizbeach el mular etz Canaan el gligos yardin l'lev b'nei Yisrael. So the other Jews heard about this, that the children of Reuven, Gad, and half of the tribe of Menashe, that they built such a altar over here in the area of the Jordan River over there, facing the land of Canaan, and they were not happy. V'yishnu b'nei Yisrael, they heard about this. V'yikalu kol hadas b'nei Yisrael, they gathered together Shiloh and Shiloh ba'alos alehem latzava. They gathered together Lasava. What is the rendering of this word? Sava is usually an army to wage war against them. What's the rendering of this word over here? So the Metzudas David says, Mishpata b'cherev. They were going to come out them with sword. And the Metzudas David explains if they weren't going to fix Imo Yuskinu as a share of us, so if they weren't going to fix that which they messed up, they were going to come out with them with a full battle. Show you that inside. Come on, but Sava. He's going to share of us. It's right over here. They weren't going to fix what they messed up. They were really going to come against them. The Metzudas continues on this page. Metzudas Sion. Yeah, Mishpata b'cherev. He's saying if you're not going to fix what you messed up with, we're going to go out to war against you. This is no joke over here. So the article explains to the other tribes, the Jewish tribes, this so-called showpiece altar represented such a significant danger that it was enough to even go out of war against war. So why a civil war could potentially break out from this? Why was it so important? This is a very crucial historic period over here. They're settling down for the first time, and this altar is going to be really the spiritual unifier over here, and it has to be done in the right way. They would be undercutting the unity of the nation if it was done in this way. And this new altar could be the opening wedge in a split that, due to the powerful pull of idolatry and influence of the Canaanite and surrounding cultures, would drag Israel down to the abominations of the region, which is very bad. And therefore they had to even resort to force over here. This is a pretty significant part, an event over here. They're ready to go to civil war, stand up for those principles. Also continues and says, okay, the Rashi talks about is built in a prohibited way. There's an Isser of Obama. Yishlchu b'nei Yisrael el b'nei Reuven ve'el b'nei Gad ve'el Chatzi Shivra Menashe el Eretz HaGilad as Pinchas ben Elazar HaKohen. And the Jews sent to the children of Reuven and the children of Gad and half of the tribe of Menashe, the land of Gilad, to Pinchas ben Elazar HaKohen. So they sent them. Pinchas is the one who stood up for the act of Cosby and Zimri. He's not new to standing up for what you believe in. V'asar Nasiim Imo, 10 leaders were with him. Nasi Echad, the base Av, L'kol Matos Yisrael, one, they were representing each tribe, V'ish Rosh, base Avoisem, Hemel Alpha Yisrael. They had one for each ancestral family. He was the head of those family of the thousands of the Jewish people over there. Um, But Yavo el bnei Ruvain, and they went to the children of Ruvain, vel bnei Gad, the children of Gad, el Chatzi Shev Menashe, to half of the tribe of Menashe, el Eretz Hagila, to the land of Gilad, v'yidabru Tamlimer, and they spoke to them, saying, Ko omru kol adatz Hashem hamal hazeh asher ma'altem belokei Yisrael lashuv hayom ma'achrei Hashem. What are you doing? You're going against Hashem. You're building this altar to now rebel against God. Hamal lanu esav poor. How bad was the idolatry of the poor, where people would excrete themselves in front of the idolatry? Asher lo hitarenu mimenu. We are impure from it adiyom hazeh until this day. Via nega b'das Yisrael, and there was a plague that bursted out, that erupted because of this. V'atem tashuv hayom me'achrei Hashem, and now you should return from behind God nowadays from Hashem. V'heya atem timrodu hayom v'Hashem umachar el kol adas Yisrael yiksof. And you're going to rebel today and tomorrow to the entire congregation. You're gonna get everyone very upset, be angry. Hashem's going to get very angry at everyone. V'ach im, okay. V'ach im temei eretz l'chusochem yivul lochem l'eretz l'chuzos Hashem asher shachin sham mishkan Hashem v'yachzu b'sochenu. And now if you're gonna purify the land that you inherited, go to the land of your inheritance from Hashem. You dwelled over there, where the Mishkan of Hashem is, and hold on, take possession among us. But Hashem al timradu, but don't rebel against Hashem. But Taner al timradu, and us don't rebel. But minoseichem lachem mizbeach ba'aladi mizbeach Hashem Elokeinu. So what it's saying over here is that this is not good. Don't rebel against Hashem. Don't rebel against us by building for yourselves a foreign type of altar, not an altar for Hashem. And then they tie in Achan. Halo Achan bein zerech ma'a ma'a b'cherem ve'al kol adas shel ha'ketzef v'hu ish echad loy gava ba'avoino. What happened with Achan? That he took from the consecrated property and Hashem unleashed his wrath on all of the Jews. He was very upset with. That was one person, and he didn't perish with the sin. He was not the only one to perish for a sin. Other people were held accountable for that. So what they're saying is that they're all one unit. When you do one thing, it affects everyone negatively, and you have to think about the repercussions for your actions and be careful. Like we said before, this is a crucial time. So first, they tried to use some diplomacy, so to say. Nothing's changed in thousands of years. They tried to warn them of the danger. Pinchas is the Kohen Gadol, the zealot who took care of what happened with Cosby and Zimri. And if the diplomacy wouldn't work, they were ready to go out to battle. Yeah, the Baal Peor was that's in Devarim Chav Daled. The women from Moab, they seduced the Jewish men and influenced them to perform the worship of the idol Peor. That plague that Hashem sent as a result of that killed 24,000 Jews. You'd defecate in front of the idol. It's pretty disgusting. So the Be'er Moshe asks, how could you compare building this altar, to the Baal Peor? So the Be'er Moshe says that the Jewish men involved themselves with the Baal Peor only to appease the Midianite women, but in their own minds, they didn't like the idols. They thought that they were performing a mitzvah, so to say, and they were still guilty of idol worship. Even though it was so-called well-intended, it could lead to horrible consequences, as we know. So too, that's what was happening with this forbidden altar. One thing leads to another, and sometimes in life we think that we're doing a good thing and we're not. We have to know what the Torah says, what's a mitzvah, what's not. The Baal Peor, when you would defecate on a deeper level, it's based on the body's ability to separate and absorb nourishing foods while expelling the waste. This is symbolic of the human responsibility to distinguish between good and evil, spiritual from the material. And in the Midbar, the desert, when the Jews were living a completely spiritual life, the similarities between the two is plain. When the people transitioned into material life, it became harder to draw the proper distinctions, and this was a danger. That's the analogy and the connection between the two. They couldn't look the other way because of this. So that was basically the statement that they gave them, the ultimatum. So now the 2.5 tribes are going to see they're shocked at this whole accusation. They said that they didn't violate anything, that there was no problem over here. So let's see the response, and this is how basically the parak wraps up. And they answered, the children of Reuben, the children of God, and half of the tribe of Manasseh, and they spoke to the heads of the tribes of the Jews, El Elohim, Hashem, Elokim. They're saying Hashem is God, Hashem is God. Hashem hu yada v'Yisrael hu yeda. So Hashem knows and the Jews know. And you should know. Im b'marav v'im b'ma'al b'Hashem al toshinu hayom hazeh. If it's rebellion or if it's treachery, it's going against Hashem, don't save us. They're saying if we're doing something wrong, get rid of us, don't save us. B'noslan mizbeach lashub ben acharei Hashem, to build a mizbeach to return from behind Hashem. V'ila los alav olo mencha. But if it's just to bring sacrifices on it, v'im lasos alav zivchli shamim Hashem hu yavakish. Then it's Hashem that we want. Let Hashem exact the retribution. That's what they're saying over here. Hashem will take care of it. V'im lo medaga, and if we didn't do it out of fear, medavar asinu, ezos lemor, didn't do this matter, saying, Machar yomer banechem, the next day the children will say, lebanenu, your children will say to our children, lemor, and they're going to say, Malachem la Hashem lokei Yisrael. Well, what is this for Hashem, to the God of the Jews? Ugavul nasan Hashem benenu ubenechem, and there's a border that Hashem gave between us and your children, b'nei Ruvain, b'nei Gad, as a Yardin, ein lachem chilik b'Hashem. You should have no portion in Hashem. V'eshvisu b'nechem as v'ninu l'bilti yiras Hashem. That's what they're saying over here. Yiroas Hashem. And it should cause your children and our children not to do this over here. Not to fear Hashem. They were saying that they're doing fine over here. Benomar, and we're gonna say Nasa, no Lanu, Livnoises Bech, let's build the altar, Lolo Olavo, not for sacrifices, Kidhu, Beninu, Benechem, this is testimony between us and you, Ubain, Dorasenu, Achrenim, for the generations after. La avodas avodas Hashem, to serve the service of Hashem, lafana b'lusinu b'zvichin b'lushininu, with their sacrifices. Only no more by nicha machar lebenenu, and your children shouldn't tell ours. Imachem chelik b'Hashem, that you don't have a portion with Hashem. That should not be said. God forbid to go against Hashem, to rebel against Hashem, and to what they're saying is that God forbid, sacrilegious for us to turn this day from Hashem, to build an altar for these offerings. Except for an altar for Hashem, our God, who is before his sanctuary. In other words, they were saying that they didn't do anything wrong. So Pinchas and his colleagues accepted the explanation and praised it. So it was accepted as a symbol of unity among the people. And that's how this parak concludes. Yishma Pinchas Akonis, Yadid Rosh Valkishar, Asher Ito was Rim, Asher Dibune Ruvim, Benega Bune Nashav Yeti Banem, Pinchas the Cohen, and all of the leaders, they all heard all of this that the children of Reuven and God said, and Manasseh, and it was good in their eyes. Pinchas ben Elazar Cohen El bnei Reuven ben Agav bnei Manasseh Hayom Yadanu Kibul Sechinu Adonai Asher Lo Maltum Adonai Hamal Hazeh Az Yitzaltem Es bnei Yisrael Miyad Adonai. And Pinchas basically responded to them and said that now we know that Hashem is among us, and you didn't do anything bad against Hashem, no treachery in any way, shape, or form, and you saved the Jews over here from the hands of Hashem, because there is no civil war. Saving from the war and divine punishment. Vayoshe Pinchas ben Elazar HaKohen, V'Hanesiya Meis b'nei Reuven b'nei Gad b'nei Yisrael Gidol words Kanano b'nei Yisrael, and Pinchas returned, and the leaders from the children of Reuven and from the children of God, they went back from the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan, to the other Jews. Yashivu Oisam Davar. And they returned and they gave them a report, basically a recap of what happened over here. Vayitiv Adavar b'nei Yisrael vayavarchu Elohim b'nei Yisrael v'lo Amar lo Yisrael dinu l'masaf al t'shachich Hashem b'nei Ruva b'nei Gad Yoshim ba, and it was good in the eyes of the Jews, and Hashem gave a blessing to the Jews, and there was no war to destroy the land that the children of Reuven and Gad were sitting in. V'yikru b'nei Reuven b'nei Gad l'mizbech, and the children of Reuven and the children of God, they named the altar. They called out to it. Ki hu be'nosenu ki Hashem Elokim, because it's a testimony, witness between us that Hashem is God. That's how this parak ends. Basically, in short, if it wasn't clear, the response that the children of Reuven gave and on that side of the Jordan is that no, the altar was to cement the relationship, not to separate it, and that they're still serving Hashem and everything is good. This requires more research, it's deep stuff.